Hey guys, it's me, Mitchell Bold from Studio E back again, and today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to navigate Adobe Premiere Pro and perform some basic edits. Let's get started. Okay, you've opened Adobe Premiere Pro and there's a lot to take in. Let me guide you through what you're seeing. Up on the top of the screen, you will see a bunch of different workspaces that you can work in. There's learning, assembly, editing, color, effects, audio, graphics, and libraries. The main ones I will be teaching today are editing, effects, and graphics. Editing is where most of the work will be done, and it's also the most versatile and easy to use workspace. On the editing workspace, you will see 4 different screens. Let me walk through them with you real quick so I can familiarize you with them because, you will find soon that these windows remain pretty similar from workspace to workspace with slight differences. Down on the bottom left, there will be a project library and media browser. Here you will drop all your files that you were using on your project. You can create folders in it to help organize, or you can just dump them all in there. I would recommend some sort of organization though, because it can get quite cluttered with all of your files. Next up is the top left screen, and this is the source monitor. This screen works in tandem with the library or media browser monitor. You select a file in the media browser and it will appear in the source monitor. From there, you can do a multitude of things. You can use the keyboard shortcuts I and O, which stand for in and out, to set points on the video or audio clip that you want. These points will create, as you may have guessed, in and out points. These points will allow you to move them into the timeline panel. Now, you'll see a row of buttons on the bottom of this panel, each with different meanings. First is a marker, which can be used to mark a certain point of time on the video. Next are the manual in and out points, followed by a button that, if you've already set an in point, it will take you directly to it. Then there's the rewind, play, and fast forward, followed by the skip to the out point button, if you've set one of those. And these next 3 are a little different. First we have insert, which will directly place your selected clip directly into the timeline, wherever your time marker is. Then we have the overwrite, which does the same thing but overwrites whatever clip could have possibly been there before it. And finally, we have the snapshot key. This allows you to take a snapshot of a single frame of your video. The image will be sent to your media library, where you can do whatever you want with it. Next, while we're looking at the source monitor, there's another function of it besides splicing video, and that is the effect controls setting. Effect controls differs drastically from what I just showed you on the source monitor settings. The first big difference is to access the settings, you need to clip in the timeline panel instead of the media library. Once you've selected your clip, image, or audio file on your timeline, you'll see a bunch of settings of that file that will pop up. Well, actually, there isn't much that pops up for audio besides volume and panning, but that's not the point. The main purpose of this setting of the source monitor is making a direct edit to your clips that you need to. You'll see little stopwatches on most of the settings to your clips, and what those do is set keyframes. Now keyframes are important because they create a smooth transition. On this clip, for example, I want it to fade out, so I'll keyframe it at 100 here, and then a few seconds down the road, I'll keyframe it at 0. So now if we watch it back, it slowly fades out. Pretty cool, right? That feature is universal though. You want an image to fly across the screen? Keyframe. Bam! You want a video to rotate and shrink into nothingness? Keyframe. Bam! Keyframes will be your best friend if you use them right. Okay, now some quick guides on what everything important does on this page. Position. You got the X and Y coordinates. You can drag them, and by doing it, it'll move the selected clip. You can also type into the little boxes right here to, change the actual position if you want it exact. You got a scale. That's the size of the clip. You got rotation. That's self-explanatory. Anchor point. This allows you to set a point on the screen. And by using the rotation tool, once you've selected your anchor point, you can have your clip rotate around that point. Pretty cool. Next important one is opacity, and that's how transparent the video is. And that's the basics of the source monitor panel. Next one. Okay, it's not really the next one, it's more of the next 3, because these 3 are inseparable. These are the timeline monitor, the program monitor, and the tool belt. Starting off with the easiest one is the program monitor. Whatever you've assembled in the timeline will show up here. That's basically it. Real easy stuff. All the buttons on the bottom are the exact same as on the source monitor with one change, and that's the comparison view, but it's not really important. I haven't used it in my 7 years of editing, so. Next one is the tool belt. This is a fun one. Each tool can be used on either the timeline or the program monitor. The first one is very basic. It's the selector tool. This just allows you to select whatever you're clicking, either the timeline or the program monitor, but it's mostly used on the timeline. Next is the track select forward tool. Have you ever wanted to select everything at once, but only beyond a certain point? Boosh. Ha ha ha. Okay, next we have a ripple edit tool. This can allow you to get rid of the blank spaces in the timeline to speed up editing, so you don't have to drag and drop everything. It can just help you save time. You don't need to use it, but it helps quite a bit. Next is the razor tool. With this, you can slice a clip that you don't like anywhere you want. A tip is to get your time bar at the right spot where you want to cut, because the tool will snap to your exact bar's location. Then there's the slip tool, which can simultaneously change the in and out points of a clip within your timeline. I had to look that one up. It's not very important. Then we have the pen tool, which works just as it sounds. On the program monitor, you can use the pen like a pen and draw. That's not all though. You can also use this tool in audio clips on the timeline to create keyframes. And look at this, you can make a gradient difference, make a little plateau. This tool with the audio allows you to make audio differences. It's really handy and I use it in most of my projects. Then there's the grabby glove hand, which allows you to move through the timeline instead of using the slider down at the bottom. And finally, there's the text tool, which allows you to create a text on the program monitor. And as you do that, it creates this little pink box in the timeline, which you can move and shape however you please. That's all the things on the tool belt. Now I can explain how the timeline works. This timeline is your video. Like it or not, whatever you make on your timeline is what you're going to get out. The timeline is broken into two kinds of hard to see halves, but trust me, they're there. There's the visual half and the audio half. The visual half is pretty easy to explain. Whatever clip is on top is the one that is on top. If you have multiple clips all stacked at one point in time, you can do that, but make sure that the top clip isn't eclipsing the bottom clips, unless you want that. Next is the audio half. The audio half, as I explained earlier, can be affected by using a pen tool. However, unlike the video half, whatever audio clip is on top does not mean it is the loudest. You can adjust the gain or volume by dragging this little bar up or down. And if you use the pen tool, you can segment the audio bar and make certain parts quiet and other parts loud. And the final thing I will teach you on the timeline monitor is that if you right-click the video that is connected to an audio, but you only want the audio or only want the video, you can right-click it and down a little bit, you will see a setting called Unlink. Now this will unlink your video and audio, allowing you to be able to move them independently from one another. Now that was just the editing workspace. Let's take a look at the effects workspace. Looks similar? Everything is the same except for this new window on the right side of the screen, and that is the effects library. From here you can find any effects you want. For time purposes, we will only be talking about these bottom 5 folders. Lumetri presets are all color correction effects, and they'll add film gradients, help stylize your video that you're trying to make. Next is audio effects. These you'll need to toy with a bit yourself, but one that constantly helps me out is denoise. Ever have a humming noise in the background and it's super annoying? This suppresses most background audio. Not all, but most of it. Next is audio transitions, and that's a small one. It allows you to create fades between two audio clips, so that way the transition is not too rough. Then there are video effects. This one is important. Anything you can possibly want to do with a video, you can do here. You want to blur a video, some color correction, sharpen a video, make it grainy. Almost anything you want to do is on this list. Finally is the video transitions. With this, you can make seamless transitions between videos, so you don't have to have a hard cut or something, because those are ugly. Oh, I almost forgot. You can apply these effects by dragging and dropping them onto a clip you'd like to apply the effects to. And with one of the transitions, you can drag and drop it to the space between the two clips. Oh, one last thing. If you go to the source monitor and open up the effect control, you can adjust new effects that you have applied to your clips. So let's say I added a Gaussian blur to a clip. I can go and open up the effects control and adjust the amount of blurriness that it is. And finally, we're going to move to the graphics workspace. Wait, no way. It's the same except for the right? No way, that's crazy. So the only thing that this adds is the graphics library. This library, you can scroll through and just drag and drop it onto your timeline panel. Wait, they're pink? You know what that means? The text tool you used on the tool belt creates graphics. You click on the graphic on the timeline, it opens the settings on the right, which allows you to edit how these graphics look. Like the color, size, rotation, edge shading, basically anything you could want for a graphic.
And that's basically it. If you have any questions though, leave them down in the comment section and we'll try to get to all of you guys. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you want to learn anything else about Adobe Premiere that we did not cover in this video, you can go to adobeacademy.com. It is where I learned most of my Adobe tips. And yeah, it's a great learning tool for any of you guys who are looking to start off and want to get more advanced. But that's all I have for you guys today. I'm Mitchell Bellwood from Studio E, and I'll catch you next time.